Hey friends, Charles here. I want to share a little bit about how I got to adding weightlifting to my mental and physical health regimen despite being in chronic pain. It's going to be a little bit long-winded video, but I think it might encourage some people. First off, like I've said many a times, my goal is not to get skinny. My goal is not to look good by anybody else's standards. I'm a fat man. I've been a fat man almost like I got a fat man. And I don't feel bad about that. Like I said, the reason I lift weights 6 days a week is mental health. That's number one. Physical health, along with changing my diet a little bit, not because of weight loss, but because I have diabetes. And exercise is important in maintaining, your diabetes numbers. And also mental health. With chronic pain, you can fall into depression, and I honestly had a hard time getting out of bed, especially on high pain days, because I had nothing to do, nothing to look forward to. And so it's a great way to start my day and get my endorphins going. So let's go to how I got started. It actually started months before I picked up a weight. February 2020, I was at home. I was pissed because at that time I had finally gotten a place to where I could balance playing music again with my chronic pain. I'm a musician, and when I got put out of the traditional workforce, what I would do to supplement my income is I would gig anywhere from 2 to 4 times a month, depending on availability and what my pain would allow me to do. I was working between my own jazz trio and a friend of mine's rock band, and the money was okay to good. You would have some nights where you go in and play for 3 hours and get $50. Other times you might show up, play for a couple hours and make $100 a man, $150 a man. But it was more just having something to do. And when COVID hit, I remember that week I had 2 gigs scheduled. I had rested up, I had prepared, I had already bought my pre-planned meals for after the 2 gigs, which I know I won't be able to walk for a couple of days after that. And they got just canceled. 2 gigs that week, that was gonna be like $200, and I was pissed. And then I caught COVID, and when I was laying in bed, when I had COVID, I could barely even stay awake for more than 2 hours at a time. It was horrible. But what I would do is I would watch a lot of YouTube, and this guy Simon Miller, who works for the Woke Culture Wrestling Channel, and he's a bodybuilder and he's all about positivity. I would watch his videos all the time, because there's positivity. And that all that talk about weightlifting and the gym, or as he calls it, the fitness palace of love, that planted the seed in me. And it was like, you know what? I can do this. And my goals can be my own. And my journey can be my own. I could start small and then just stay small. And so watching those videos, by the time I actually got to lifting weights, it wasn't a matter of, hey, how am I going to do this? It's like, oh, why am I just now starting? And I would say I really didn't even start for like months, a year after I really got to watching those videos on a regular basis. And then in May of 2021, around May or so, I decided, what, I'm going to give this a go. And so I was doing 7 days a week, kind of relearning what I did in school. And I had a 30-pound dumbbell, a 40-pound dumbbell, and a couple of smaller ones, and I would just do what I could. And I started buying more and more weights, another 40 pounder, another 30 pounder, instead of 20 pounders, and so on and so forth. And I got into a routine where I would do, I had 3 workouts based around my abilities. Since I can't work my legs, which I've tried, but I mean, it was just too much pain and immobility. One day is for my biceps and my core and back. So I'm going to do curls, I'm going to do lateral work, I'm going to do seated deadlifts. The next day is all about shoulders. I want to get my shoulders. In high school, I had like crazy shoulders. I was a fat man, but you could tell by my shoulders that I was a lifter. So I want to get my shoulders back. And so that was the next day. And then the third day was my bench press day, my chest and tricep day. And I did that. Got into a pretty good routine for over a year. And then this summer, I realized that a lot of my extra pain was coming from my workouts because I didn't have a workout bench. And so I was getting up and down off of the floor on a very regular basis, and it was adding to my pain. And so I was thinking, what can I do about this? Because I haven't had gigs since the pandemic, because since music has opened up here, but there are 2 reasons I'm not playing yet. One is I'm immunocompromised, and the attitude in Wyoming, sadly, is to pretend COVID doesn't exist. And the other reason I'm not playing is because right now, a lot of venue owners are taking advantage of the pandemic to short musicians, and I know my worth. I'm not gonna pray for chump change. And so I didn't have the extra income, so I started a GoFundMe for some new workout equipment. And between you guys on Reddit and you guys on Instagram and friends, I was blessed enough to make enough to get a workout bench, which has been a life changer, and some more weights. And GoFundMe, by the way, is still up. I have the link in my bio. I'll put a link on this video on YouTube. But anyway, enough of that. I've over the past year and a half or so now, it's become something that, like I said, I have something to look forward to, something to get out of bed for. It gives me confidence. I have, shoulders now, like I used to. I feel, when I first got injured, I really felt emasculated. And yeah, it's petty, but we're made to work, we're made to grow, we're made to progress. And so yeah, it does feel good to, get my shoulders back cooking, get my arms back going, and my diabetes numbers in check. And yeah, it all started with the sick dude on his bed watching YouTube videos. And now I'm a year and a half in, still going strong. I just got done with a great workout. I'm a lot stronger. I'm a lot healthier. I'm a lot more mentally strong. And I've learned how to adapt my workouts to do it without hurting myself. And that is the most important thing. Especially if you're disabled, there's nothing wrong with tailoring your workout around your abilities. It doesn't mean that you're lazy because you can't do legs. It means that you have a whole bunch of torn up tendons and messed up shit in your leg. But I would encourage you to do what you can, how you can. You don't have to move big weight. You don't have to run miles. You don't have to want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You don't need none of that. Just do you. Find your smile. And if it's not going to be with exercise, I'm also on a bunch of nerdy shit. Comic books. I got into that since I got crippled. I walked into a random store one night, bought a comic book, and fell in love. Now my living room was filled with comic books. You know, but we gotta remember, life is more than pain, and disability is not death. For me, disability and chronic pain was actually more of a rebirth than anything. I learned empathy, and I got the mental health help that I needed for years that I just kind of pushed to the side. So I've rambled on for way too long. I'm up past the 10-minute mark. I hope you guys have a blessed day. And, the whole point of this thing is, you know, every journey starts with one step. That's all we need. Hope you guys have a blessed day.